What's going on, guys? Another video here on the channel for fantasy. This one gonna be the video to prepare you guys for game week 1 of FPL Challenge. Obviously, FPL Challenge kind of a short format alternative, right, to FPL standard FPL. Also within the FPL app, the website that you guys can play. A lot of people play it. Some people just play regular FPL. I personally like playing it along with FPL. I play both formats. Really enjoy FPL Challenge. You can see here on the screen my past history for the past 2 seasons. Um, Good finishes. Last year, a lot of improvement from the 24-25. Last year, we finished 737 in the world. Really, really good rank, I'd say. Looking to improve even more this year, but yeah, obviously the you can pick whichever players you want, but obviously usually with FPL Challenge, right? The weekly the challenge for the game week obviously gives you extra points. So I definitely think it's within your best interest to get players that get the bonus from the challenge, right? I always try to. There's gonna be picks that are just players they can't go without, that are just really good no matter what, right? Like your Hollands of the world and stuff, your Brunos a lot of the match days. But obviously, if you follow the challenge rules, the weekly challenges, they can help you get some pretty good scores, right? From those guys that benefit from the whatever the challenge may be, right? It's I feel like last year, the season before, I kind of just had like a healthy combination of guys that kind of follow the challenge, the challenge rules, and players that I just couldn't go without that maybe weren't the best for the challenge, but I just had to play in the team. A lot of the times, honestly, a lot of the players were kind of benefited from the challenge, and I had a full starting lineup of guys targeting the challenge. But even when that wasn't the case, I got pretty good scores. So it's just kind of what you're feeling. I think the strategy for FPL challenge is just kind of that, really, whatever you think is best for the week. The game week 1 challenge to start off the new FPL season here, you guys can see is focused on the new summer signings. The challenge obviously is double points for summer signings, one player per club. Again, most game weeks last year we had this one player per club limitation. It's nothing new, right? But obviously the main challenge here for game week 1 is double points for summer signings. Okay, so obviously we're looking for the new players that just signed for teams, right? You know, your Elliot Andersons of the world and stuff. We'll go into more depth, but this is the challenge that we're dealing with here. Okay. Um, Looking at the fixtures for game week 1 for us to have a better idea who we may want to pick, right? Arsenal against Coventry. I think Arsenal are favorites here. Clean sheet very likely. Okay. Hull City, Man United. Hull City. Let's see. We haven't seen them at all, right? A recently promoted side. A lot of people say right, their data is very bad. Some people, are already saying without even seeing any football that they're the worst team in the Premier League by a long shot or by far. So let's see. I'm not one of these people that wants to kind of classify teams before I've even seen them play, but just off of the fact that they're recently promoted, Man United towards the latter parts of the season last year, I think Man United are favorites from if we're going off of that. Okay, Everton, Crystal Palace could go either way really. Good defenses, right? Both teams with good defenses. I think could go either way. I think any of these teams could shut out the other one. Um, yeah, I don't. I think it's 50-50. Ipswich against Sunderland. Ipswich recently promoted. Sunderland usually right at the Stadium of Light were really strong last year. When they played away, not so much. Maybe slight favoritism here for Sunderland. But this could be like that 1-1 game, right? A 1-1 draw here wouldn't surprise me at all. Okay, would not surprise me at all. Leeds Forest, tough. Another very tough game to call, in my opinion. Okay, very very even. I think very much 50-50 this matchup. I'd say. Brentford Spurs, um, another very tough game. Some very close games here. Match they won, I'd say. Okay, I think both sides score here, right? I'd say potentially. Okay, looking like it. Yeah, very tough matchups to call. Okay, very balanced matchups. Okay, Brian and Villa. I don't know. Like we don't. I don't know what to expect from Villa. Brian, obviously a decent side, right? Past few Premier League seasons, but just again another matchup. Very tough to call. Very tough to call. Okay. Man City Bournemouth. This is one that at least I can kind of place a little bit of favoritism on City. I am recording this uh, later at night on Sunday, so I did get to see Arsenal 3-0 against Man City in the Community Shield. Is that what we fully expect to see though from City? Maybe not, right? We maybe this doesn't paint a full picture of what we can expect from City, but obviously not a great start, right? Under Maresca, obviously not a great start. Okay, losing, but again, it is Arsenal. They were Premier League winners last year, but playing in Etihad here, I'd probably just give a little bit of favoritism for Man City. Okay, I'd probably just place a little bit of favoritism on Man City. Um, Newcastle, Liverpool, probably a little bit of favoritism for Liverpool. I think they're slight favorites. Okay, slight favorites here. Um, just because of Newcastle with the whole scenario going on, losing key players. Their preseason results, you could argue, you could make an argument for kind of. Liverpool won today, 2-0 against Como, right? New coach Iraola. Let's see, but I just think based on last season and based off of what we've seen in preseason, I think Liverpool are small, very small, I'd say, favorites here. Maybe it's like a 2-1 type of game. Maybe it's just a simple 1-0 for Liverpool here. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if Newcastle just completely, right, have a shock result here and win. It's kind of like a lot of unknowns. We're starting this season now, right? Fulham, Chelsea. I think Chelsea are probably favorites here. Fulham definitely, I feel like, are. I don't know what to expect from them. All I know is that to me, Arbeloa doesn't look like a very knowledgeable, great coach that's just gonna come in and make him awesome off the start. I could be completely wrong, but let's see, right? Fulham just don't look like with the pieces in their lineup, a team that to me, I'm like, yeah, it's the team that's gonna shock a lot of people. I don't know if I can say that right now. Chelsea, on the other hand, with Xabi, why can it not work, right? I think some very interesting names there. JP, if he does this thing, Morgan Rogers, and Palmer. I mean, based off of right the teams on paper, I'd imagine Chelsea are favorites here. Even in playing in Craven Cottage, I'd say probably a little favoritism towards Chelsea. Okay, but it is the first game of the season. They could have a hard time to to get going. Right, both sides right could have a hard time to get going and playing fluid football. So let's see. But as a general rule here, I'd say very slight favoritism for Chelsea, okay? But you can see very even matchups, okay? Very balanced matchups here for Game Week 1, okay? Here's some names by position. You guys will see that some of the names in parentheses to the right of the name, you'll see a 2x in parentheses. This just means that they qualify for the challenge, right? The challenge being that the new summer signings, they get double points. Names like Zales here obviously would qualify because he's a new summer signing, so he qualifies for the challenge double points, okay? This is what I'm trying to indicate with the 2x in parentheses, right? To the right of the names, right? Names by position that I like. Holland, right? The obviously doesn't qualify for the challenge, but it's Holland playing against Bournemouth. I think I'd say the best, definitely the best attacking option, if not the best name for the match day. Okay, you could argue a guy like Gabriel just because the clean sheet odds and what Gabriel can offer, and Bruno playing a recently promoted side. But I think Holland, everything for him to go crazy here. I think he has everything he needs. Okay, to go crazy here. Jacques, I don't mind, but let's see like how the minute's gonna look like, right? Brian Broadby, don't mind. Igor Jesus, even matchup, open matchup. Him and DCL, Calvert-Lewin, why not? Either name I like, okay. Thiago, again, evenly like an even matchup here against Tottenham, why not? Jorginho Rutter, been doing his thing in preseason. He's been scoring goals. I don't mind him, okay. Against Villa, even though it's Villa, I don't mind. I think Brighton at home are, I think I could see Jorginho Rutter scoring. Like, why not, Isak, don't mind him. Like I said, against Newcastle, playing his old team. We know these things happen, right? We have the law of the X, right? Usually a player scores against his old team. All this like kind of stuff, these sayings that obviously he's gonna score against his old team and stuff. He could do very well. He's been doing pretty good in preseason, right? JP, we know JP, right? Had a pretty good last season. He could do it again this season. Why not? And I think Denny Welbeck, he's predicted. I've seen predicted lineups. Some of them do have him starting for Chelsea. And I don't know why I didn't put here, but he does qualify for the 2x, okay? Danny Welbeck would qualify for the challenge, a bonus, the double points, okay? So he could be a very interesting name. Very interesting name, okay, Danny Welbeck. In the midfield, I like Zales. This guy had like 40 goal contributions in the Greek league. It doesn't surprise me that he's already cooking in preseason. He cooked today in the Community Shield. He just looks like one of these dudes that he's just going to come in and get running, bro. Get scoring, points off the bat, dude. And he's already done it, right? Like, he's already done it. It's not like, oh, he will. Like, he's already been doing it. But, yeah, he qualifies for the 2x points here. Yeah, I think he's one of the best names you could have for the challenge, for what the challenge asks for. If you want to go ahead and play this guy, obviously we have lineups with FPL Challenge. The good thing is we have lineups, right? I think if you want to go for like a spicy pick here and just captain Zales, dude, might not be a bad choice, okay? I wouldn't mind that, okay? Bruno Guimarães, don't mind him. I believe he qualifies, right, for the 2x, the double points. Could be a good pick here. Embuemo, Bruno, Cunha, Diallo, all interesting bets for Man United. None of them would qualify for the double points, but just a very good matchup, right? Regardless of the double points or not, they could get some pretty good points here. André Santos, I don't mind him. We're gonna get lineups, obviously. Again, I don't expect a lot of goals and assists from him. He's more of like a contention kind of midfielder, right? He just he kind of how can I say? He controls the pace of the game, but don't expect a lot of goals and assists from him, right? But he does qualify for double points. His DEFCONs, I don't really remember if he's like a DEFCON guy like that. I don't think he is, so he's just kind of a guy you're targeting for double points, but very limited in terms of his avenues to points, right? Norgard for Everton. He didn't start the last preseason friendly today for Everton, so it's looking like he's probably not going to start game week 1. Obviously, we're going to get lineups, so it's not going to be right. It's not going to be a problem. But I think if we get lineups and he's in it for game week 1, I think he's a really good name, right? A guy that was averaging, I think, like 12 DEFCONs last season, and with Brentford, I believe, or maybe it was the season with Brentford. But regardless, a guy that could definitely get DEFCON points in the midfield. Goal contributions, not so much of Arsenal, but he did have, I think, like 8 goal contributions when he played for Brentford. So I think he's just a good pick here because of what the challenge asked for. I think he's a good pick, okay? Florentino, I really like. He's one of my favorite names here. He recently signed for Ipswich, okay? Florentino, because of, how can I say this? If you guys played FPL last season, he was playing for Burnley, and it just seems like he'd get DEFCON every freaking game week, dude. Like, when you go to the DEFCON kind of spreadsheet for the matchups, dude, every time, I swear, dude, Florentino would always be there. He's like a DEFCON machine, dude. I think he averaged 13 last year, and now playing for Ipswich, I think he's awesome, dude. He can get you double points here, obviously, because he's a summer signing for Ipswich. Dude, I think he's bound to get DEFCON this first game here. So 90 minutes, 2 points. DEFCON, another 2 points. Dude, you're already looking at an 8-pointer with the double points, all right? If they keep a clean sheet or if he does something crazy and scores assists, forget it. He's going to score a lot of points, right? Harry Wilson, I don't mind for Leeds. He qualifies for the double points, obviously. We saw what he did for, Fulham last season. Interesting pick, right? Say the least here. Tonali, same deal. Maybe you're just looking for some DEFCONs there. Rare, right? Goal involvements with him are pretty rare, but I don't mind the name, right? Because you get the double points. He's a summer signing for Tottenham. Sangare, summer signing for Brentford, a guy that had 6 goal involvements in Ligue 1, but you're really playing him for the DEFCON. He's a guy that averaged, I don't know how many exactly, but he hit DEFCONs consistently in Ligue 1 last year, okay? If he mirrors what he did in Ligue 1 in the Premier League, he could be a real good name here for, DEFCON, right? Double points, obviously a summer signing for Brentford. Shada obviously doesn't qualify for double points, but he's a guy that can usually cook, drop some real, big scoring nights. He had some already in the preseason. Just a good name in a decent enough matchup against Tottenham. Okay, Gross, kind of the same that I just spoke for Shota applies to Gross. Munzambi, same deal. He is a summer signing, a guy that I watched a lot in the Bundesliga for Freiburg last year. I obviously play a variety of fantasy games. If you guys are not, if you guys are not aware of that, go back on my channel. I do a variety of fantasy videos. I play Bundesliga fantasy, and this is a guy that I consistently had in my team, right? If he starts here for Villa, I really like him, okay? I really like him. He qualifies for double points, okay? I think he should definitely be hitting DEFCONs, okay? I think he could very well hit DEFCONs, okay? Elliot Anderson, obviously one of the best DEFCON guys last year. Could he do it again for City this year? I think so. He does qualify for double points, so he could be one of the best midfield options we have. The only reason why I don't have him in the team is because of a guy like Holland, a guy called Holland, but he could obviously be a real good name, right? Foden, if you're going to pick somebody in the midfield, I think it's going to be Anderson just because of what the challenge asks for. But Foden could be an interesting name, just a guy that could go off. We know who Phil Foden is, right? Harvey Barnes, a good enough name, okay, but very end of list name. Like, he's kind of like definitely not top 10 or anything, but he's a name. He's definitely like an option, right? Verts, Jabozai, same deal. Gakpo, is it going to be him? Is it going to be Rio? Same deal, they're options, but not the greatest. Rogers, let's see, we're going to have lineups. I don't think he starts, but if he starts, he could be one of the best names in the midfield if he starts because he has the double points, and it's Morgan Rogers, right? Playing a very favorable fixture for Chelsea, I'd say, okay? Palmer, Neto, options, right? Defenders that I like, Arsenal's clean sheet odds are just super high. So these four guys here, the first four names on the list go unsaid, right? They're awesome. Shaw, Maguire, Man United's first two fixtures are really good, but you're really just looking at clean sheet with Shaw. Maguire could offer you a little DEFCON, and he scored goals in preseason. Yeah, they could be very interesting names, I'd say, okay? Tarkovsky and Munoz, they're okay. Tarkovsky, DEFCONs, Munoz just the offensive threat, right? The offensive threat. Diop, recent signing for Ipswich, he qualifies for double points. He's a guy that could hit DEFCONs. He's not the best at it. Definitely not my favorite, but he's a name for sure. Meunier, I've seen lineups, predicted lineups with him in it. Obviously, we know Meunier has a pretty good offensive threat for fantasy. He's a very offensive kind of fullback player. I don't know if he's going to hit DEFCON, but he does qualify for double points because he's a new summer signing for Sunderland. So with lineups, if we see him in the lineups, he could be a really, really interesting name, okay? Really interesting name. Muharemovic, the DEFCON beast. If you guys watch FPL videos and stuff, you guys have already heard of Muharemovic for Leeds, the new signing. A guy that's, predicted to be kind of a DEFCON magnet. He's already hit crazy DEFCON numbers in preseason. Here, I don't think it changes much. He gets the double points. He's a guy that's probably going to hit DEFCON. So he's a really good pick here, I think, okay? I don't think it's crazy to kind of predict a Leeds clean sheet here. I could see it happening, but I think it's unlikely, okay? Van Heck, same deal goes for him. Everything we just talked about we spoke about for Muharemovic kind of applies to Van Heck, okay? Senesi, kind of the same deal. Senesi is a little bit of a doubt if he's going to start or not. Just keep your eyes open in the lineups, but if he does, we know who Senesi is. He's probably going to be one of the best names you could have if he starts, right? Pedro Porro, because of the offensive threat that he offers. Very good name, too. Vuskovic, same deal. Everything I just spoke about for Muharemovic applies to Vuskovic, okay? Vuskovic, a guy that I followed very closely in Hamburg last year in the Bundesliga fantasy app. A guy that I consistently had in my team. A guy that I'm probably going to play a lot this season here in FPL, okay? Nunes apparently had a knock in the Community Shield. I didn't see it, but he's obviously a doubt right now to play Game Week 1 because of that. Good name, along with the other Man City defenders, I think. I think City could potentially keep a clean sheet here against Bournemouth, okay? Ruben Dias, Gavardiol looks like a really safe name right now. He's a risk because he didn't start in the Community Shield, but we don't know. He could definitely start Game Week 1. I wouldn't be surprised. O'Reilly, good name. Araújo and Jeremy Jacquet, let's see, right? I don't know who's going to start out of either one of them. I think only one of them starts, but both of them apply for the double points. They're both new summer signings. I think they're both awesome names, okay? With lineups, either one could be good picks. Lacroix could be a good name too. Very good name, okay? New signing for Chelsea, double points. DEFCON machine that we saw last year. I think he's a really, really strong name. Really strong name, okay? And then Palestra, Really good name as well. Applying for double points. Offensive kind of contribution guy. Goals, assists in Cagliari last season. Could be interesting. Goalkeepers, Raya. Just the safety that he offers you because we know he's going to play 90 minutes. Top scoring keeper last year in FPL. Loads of clean sheets, right? Donnarumma, interesting alternative. Ruff's decent enough fixture for him. Henderson and Pickford, like I said, either team could have a shutout against either one. I think clean sheets could be held in this game, so why not? Lamens, why not? Decent enough fixture, favorable for Man United. Alisson, I could see, a good score here for Alisson, especially if he holds a clean sheet. He's probably gonna have saves to his name, right? Kinski, really, really strong name for the challenge. Okay. Ignore this. I don't know why I put 2x here for Kinski. I'm tripping. He's obviously been in Tottenham already, so ignore the 2x. But he's a good name. Trafford does apply for the double points. Is he going to start, though, 100%? I think so. He could be a good name, okay? But obviously, like I said, clean sheets, maybe not against Forest, right? And then Hornacek, the new Newcastle Czech. I believe he's a Czech keeper. He's predicted to start. Applies for double points. I think could be an interesting name here, okay? I think it'd be an interesting name. Yeah. My current team right now, obviously changes may occur to it. I think it's very likely that they will. And there is one very obvious one right now in the midfield. A change that I'm going to have to discuss. Obviously, Norgard, like I said, I thought he was going to start this preseason friendly today. He didn't. So I'm thinking 100% he's not going to start. Like, it's very likely he's not going to start game week 1. But he's a guy that obviously for those reasons that I mentioned I was targeting here in the game week 1 because of the challenge. But as of right now, I took Norgard out and I replaced him with Florentino, okay? Because of everything we just spoke about, right? Of Florentino being this DEFCON magnet guy, right? And double points for the challenge. He's a new summer signing. Makes very much sense, right? But he's a doubt right now as well. Like I said, it's not going to be an issue. We get lineups in FPL Challenge. So I'm going to obviously look at Everton. If Norgard starts, I'll keep Norgard, but I don't think he will. And then I'll look at Ipswich. If Florentino starts, I'll play him. But if he doesn't, if he's not starting, then I'm probably going to look at a guy like Sangare for Brentford. And if Sangare doesn't start, then I guess, I don't know, I'll have to do something different. Maybe play Palmer in the midfield. Or what am I saying? Maybe I'll have to switch another player to then get Lacroix in or something like that. Okay, something like that. But Raya is just a safety, right? I could have Zollis as my Arsenal piece, but Raya is just safety and goal, right? I know he's very likely to get a clean sheet, right? Very, very likely. Vuskovic focusing on the challenge, the double points, and the fact that he's probably going to hit DEFCON if he starts. Same with Van Heck, following the challenge, what the challenge calls for. New summer signing, very likely to hit DEFCONs. So these realistically are 8-pointers right here. Like I'm already, right? If these guys do what I expect of them, we're looking at 8-pointers right here. Same with Maharemovic, right? We're looking at 8 points right here, right? This is why I'm playing a lot of DEFCON guys that are new summer signings, right? We're just looking at 8-pointers right there. Holland is just, to me, I just have a feeling he's going to have a really good game against Bournemouth. So it's kind of a no-brainer to captain him, okay? Yeah. He's a guy that could go crazy, score 2, bonus points on top of that. You know the story, right? You know how it goes with Holland. Pretty simple, straightforward stuff, right? But yeah, the midfield position is definitely a doubt right now. Sangare, Florentino, maybe I changed my mind and I put Zollis here, right? We'll see. That's why I definitely suggest you guys to follow me on Instagram. This is my Instagram right here. My final team is going to be posted there on my stories, along with my other fantasy teams, right? For Bundesliga, for Brazilian League fantasy, if you guys play Cartola. For all the different, for UCL fantasy that I also play. Definitely give me a follow there. I'm way more active on Instagram than on YouTube. YouTube, I kind of just, right, I come in here to post videos. I'm not as active as on Instagram, though. But yeah, my final team's going to be posted there. Give me a follow there. Hopefully the video helped you guys out. Any doubts you guys may have, any questions, leave them in the comments, and peace out, guys.